Hello, wonderful creatives. My name is Larry, and I'm an illustrator, digital curator, and printmaker. And in this video, I'm just going to walk you through some steps that I follow whenever I'm creating a work. I'm just trying to get into the creative zone. Before I get onto that, I would like to just say that I hope that everyone is keeping as safe as possible, physically, mentally, emotionally, maybe even soulfully, and know that even though this time is really challenging and limiting, that your imagination is unlimited and accessible at all times. So I'm going to move on to the first step, which is breaking down the theme. The theme for this project is your silence will not protect you. That can be represented in so many ways and mean so many things. And something I like to do with really big concepts like this is to break them down into bite-sized pieces. And the way I do that is by mind mapping, list making, and using lots of highlighters. So I made a little mini diagram. I know it's backwards, I'm sorry. And I like to break down my categories into colors that I think of, feelings, how I feel about the topic initially, and then symbols. And what this does is it allows me to see all of the categories and maybe make links that I wasn't even thinking of before. After I have mind mapped and done all these things, I like to sort of imagine these symbols on the page, just free drawing, and these are small little drawings that I like to do. They're called thumbnail drawings, and they're just about this big, and it's just like rough drawings of the shapes. Maybe it doesn't necessarily mean anything, but this is just to feel the composition, the colors. You might use colors with regards to the mind map that you made. And then we move on to my favorite step, which is researching, planning, and curating. My favorite app to use for this is Pinterest. It's a free app. All you need is an email account. You can have it on your PC and on your phone. And what's amazing about Pinterest, for those of you who haven't used it, is that it's a digital archive filled with lots of visual inspiration. And it's not just limited to inspiration. You can find step-by-step instructions for projects, or you can find lyrics to a song. You can find really cool quotes. Just amazing platform. And what's even better is that you can form little categories. So if we're looking at my mind map, I had the color red, so I might form a folder that's just filled with red things. And I just love Pinterest. I love that it works that way. And I particularly love this step because it gives you a chance to play around. Think of the endless possibilities. There's no limit. Think as big as you can with this step. After you have gotten your inspo, done your research, written down all your ideas, I move on to step 3, which I think is a really important part, especially where we are now, and that's assessing your materials. This is very important, not only in the creative process, but specifically now, how you challenge yourself with this limiting time and limited resources, but also what it allows for is an exploration of your idea beyond the mediums that we know and love. So some really cool ideas of materials that you can find around your house that substitute for the materials that we know would be like food coloring for painting. You can mix the colors the way you would paint. You dilute it with water, get a nice cloth, an old cloth that your mother might have, and you can paint with your watercolors on your cloth. If you have charcoal, if your family likes to braai, get yourself a nice piece of charcoal, crush it down with a brick, with a spoon, put it into little bowls, separate it, get different strengths of the color with water. You can even add oil, make it a nice thick consistency. Again, painting on cloth, on paper, on cardboard that you find. One of my favorite things to do, and simply just using a pencil and a page, is tracing different surfaces and cutting them out to make different collages. For those of you who would like a challenge, I have a method for material transferring. So as you can see, transferred some images, and all you need for this is an image that you've curated on the page. You need to print it out on toner with a toner printer. Inkjet won't work for this process. And remember to inverse your image. Find yourself a cloth, a piece of paper, a nice thick card will do, because you're using a lot of strong chemicals to get the image onto it. You need acetone, so nail polish remover, a sponge, a bucket, and some newsprint or a cartridge page. I don't have newsprint with me, but newsprint, if you go to an art store, or you can use newspaper as well. Make sure it doesn't leak. Try and get a clean newspaper page. So what you want to do is you want to have your page that you're going to put your image onto. Just imagine this is blank. You're going to flatten that down. Then you're going to get your nice image that you've printed out, that you've curated, and you're going to put that on top of your page. The page that you want to transfer onto, you're going to put that on top. Then you're going to grab a sponge and a bucket filled with acetone. You want to get your sponge, squeeze it out a little, and put your newsprint or your newspaper or your thin piece of paper on top of those pages that you've already placed down. Brush it over with your sponge, get it nice and evenly coated, and then you're going to want to get a heavy book, maybe even a heavy piece of card. You could also flatten it. You could sandwich these pages together in between two cards and put it under your mattress and sleep on it. And then once you've done that, press it down maybe for a good 5 to 7 minutes, and you peel all the layers, and then you'll be left with a nice transfer. Easy at-home transfer that all of you can do. Super excited to see all the stuff that you guys come up with, all the things that you do, and I hope that you have a wonderful time creating.